What is up, my fellow Barrel Nation? Arrow the Barrel back here, bringing you another video, and this time around we're going to be checking out Banjo Kazooie, also known as Smash Ultimate's latest DLC fighter, and is the third fighter in the Fighters Pass. So, as a heads up real quick, my Blue Yeti microphone actually isn't working quite well at the moment, so as of now I am borrowing my brother's microphone, which is the Razer microphone. So, I'll try to get my Blue Yeti fixed as soon as possible, but for now this will have to do. Anyways, this video will be my first impressions of Banjo Kazooie and what I like about him so far. And I'll also be discussing about my thoughts of Banjo's inclusion in Smash, his aesthetics, and his moves. Now, the idea for this video actually came from my most recent video titled The Hero First Impression Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Maybe I'll be able to make a first impression series, kind of like this video and the latest video, out of all the characters, or out of all the DLC characters in Smash Ultimate. So with that all said, let's see what everyone's favorite bear and bird have to offer us today. Gaha? Before I start off with my thoughts about Banjo's inclusion in Smash Bros, I'll need to dive into a bit of history here. Banjo and Kazooie are finally in Smash Bros, and this is extremely significant mostly because of this one reason, and that being Banjo and Kazooie are currently owned by Microsoft. If you didn't know by now, Rare used to not be owned by Microsoft and instead used to just make games on the Nintendo 64 and stuff, but later on they were bought by Microsoft. Because of this, Banjo games have only been really present on Xbox nowadays. But the thing is that Nintendo and Xbox have been acting buddy-buddy with each other for the past year or so. From tweeting at each other on Twitter to the Minecraft Better Together crossplay update, Nintendo might have had something up their sleeves with Xbox representatives making their way into Smash Bros. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm quite certain that the three major Microsoft representatives that were most likely going to make it in as a Smash Bros. Fighter were Master Chief from Halo, Steve from Minecraft, and Banjo Kazooie, well, from Banjo Kazooie. So among all of these three Microsoft representatives, I actually wanted Minecraft Steve the most. Not only do I have more memories from Minecraft rather than Halo and Banjo Kazooie, but if you know me very well, I am a fan of modern representatives in Smash. Characters that represent like the modern era of gaming. Plus, Minecraft is undoubtedly a huge game when it comes to popularity. Master Chief was my second most wanted out of the three because Master Chief is like the face of Xbox, you know? Like, it comes to no surprise to anyone that Halo is in fact an Xbox exclusive franchise. So, with that said, Master Chief would make for an amazing debut in an official Nintendo game, especially in a game like Smash Bros, where it's sorta lacking in the FPS genre representation, so Master Chief would fill that space tremendously well. Then again, I'm a bit more biased towards Doom guys since I've played way more of Doom than Halo. But with all of this said, I kinda wanted Banjo Kazooie the least out of all of these guys. Not that I have anything against Banjo, it's just that I'm part of the younger gaming generation, so it'd be quite expected from me that I'd lean towards characters such as Master Chief and Steve instead of someone dedicated towards the older generation of gamers like Banjo. However, my perspective of Banjo took a complete 180 once I took into consideration that Banjo was originally on a Nintendo console, that being the N64, and hasn't seen the light of day on a Nintendo system for longer than a decade. I cannot imagine how long of that wait that was for Nintendo players that have been around since the N64. Thus, even with me being quite sad that Steve quote-unquote lost the war against Banjo for being the Microsoft representative, I was now able to completely understand that Banjo was the most sensible pick out of being the Microsoft representative instead of Steve and Master Chief. After all, it is confirmed that we are getting more DLC fighters after the initial Fighters Pass, and they should be able to have another Microsoft rep, so Steve for Smash, boys! Oh, and one last note, I actually have not played any Banjo Kazooie game yet, not even the original. Though, because of this, I actually plan to change this soon. Why? Because, well, earlier I announced that I would be live streaming Banjo Kazooie, well, the original game, on Xbox One once I reach 75 followers on Twitch. And I actually ended up doing so. Thank you so much for the support, by the way. So yeah, I plan to change this soon because since I reached the 75 follower milestone, I will be playing Banjo Kazooie sometime, probably next week, so stay tuned for that. Plus, I'd consider Super Mario 64 to be one of my favorite games of all time, and Super Mario 64 is known as a 3D platforming collectathon, and that is what Banjo Kazooie is. So supposedly, if I enjoyed Super Mario 64 so much to the point where I'd consider it one of my favorite games of all time, that means I might as well, hopefully, like Banjo Kazooie just as much or maybe even more than Mario 64. Who knows? So if you want to watch me play Banjo Kazooie, you may do so on Twitch. That is twitch.tv/arrowthebarrel. Yeah, that wraps up for my thoughts on Banjo's inclusion. So now it's time to move on to the aesthetics. First, let's start with the alternate costumes. Brown is obviously their default one. For the second one, Banjo is pink because he resembles Mumbo Jumbo, while Kazooie is in her same color scheme as she was in Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. In the third one, Banjo has black fur because it represents Bottles, the mole that teaches Banjo and Kazooie all their moves. Kazooie is in one of her color schemes as she was in Banjo-Tooie Squawk Match. For the fourth one, Banjo and Kazooie seem to represent Tootie, with the blonde hair being the yellow backpack. Also, Banjo is seen in red fur, and some may be indicating that this resembles Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is another rare IP. Do you think it is? Because I'm not entirely sure if they're actually referencing it or not. Once again, Kazooie is shown in one of her color schemes from Banjo-Tooie Squawk Match, and Kazooie is also representing a chained Breagle. And the fifth one, Banjo is representing Boogie, the polar bear. Kazooie is representing a Gentoo penguin. And the sixth one, which is the yellow one, Banjo is representing one of his colors in Banjo-Tooie Squawk Match, and Kazooie is representing Harry the pterodactyl. The second to the last one is the blue one, and it is representing the colors from the split up pads from Banjo-Tooie, and Banjo is once again also using the fur color for one of the colors in Banjo-Tooie's Squawk Match. And finally, for the last one, it is resembling Gruntilda with all the green skin and the purple scarf. This is also the only skin where Banjo and Kazooie's eyes and necklace color change, and the shorts have stripes this time around. Now let's take a look at the stage, Spiral Mountain. Now, at first glance, when they first unveiled this stage at the E3 trailer, I thought you would be able to go at the bottom of the stage. Like, not just on the mountain top, but I thought you could go on the ground as well. But no, that actually isn't the case. You can only go on top of the mountain and a bit on the side on it as well. That would have made it a pretty big stage, and I am actually an enthusiast for big stages in Smash when I am playing casually, like Palutena's Temple and Great Cave Offensive. The stage is highly detailed, by the way. Every now and then the stage will twirl around because after all, it's Spiral Mountain. You can even see some characters in the background from Tootie to Gruntilda, and you can also even see the collectibles and enemies in the background. Like, that's such great attention to detail. They even put like the 1-up on the top of the chimney, which is of course where it is in the game. That is such great attention to detail. I mean, they even didn't do this with New Donk City, the Mario Odyssey stage. Like, for New Donk City, they didn't have any of the collectibles in the background like purple coins and moons, but here in Spiral Mountain, they actually have collectibles such as the 1-ups and the honey. Banjo is very expressive in his 3 victory screen animations. I love the one where he's playing the banjo and Kazooie is playing the kazoo. That one is so expressive in it. And also, Banjo makes a little gaha sound effect in his 2 other victory animations. Ah man, those little details are just what makes Smash Bros. So great. Something weird I found out, however, is that once you're in the results screen, you can see that Banjo is the only one that has his render moving in the results screen. I don't know why it does this, but probably because he needs more space in his render. But yeah, he's the only character that does this, at least to my knowledge. Finally, let's get on to the moves. I will be briefly discussing about most of them, but as for the ones that I don't really have a say on, I just won't mention them at all. So if you remember correctly from my hero video, I didn't really go in depth on his actual moves, but it was just more of the spells, which took a big portion from the move section. But for Banjo, since he doesn't really have any gimmicks like Hero per se, I'll just go more in depth about his moves individually, since he doesn't really have a spell gimmick or something along the lines of that. For his jab, Banjo punches with both of his fists, and ends with Kazooie pecking with her beak, kinda like Duck Hunt. There's even a gentleman jab version of this move, where if you just jab 3 times, for the third one it will be an uppercut instead of Kazooie pecking her beak. For his down tilt, Banjo crouches down and lets a Kazooie attack with her beak while stretching her forward. And because of her stretching forward, Banjo will also slightly move towards the direction that they're facing. Oh boy, I feel bad for Kazooie in this one. But for the side smash, Banjo smacks Kazooie down on the floor just to hit the other opponent. And also, I tested this out, and Banjo can actually 2-frame with this move. His dash attack is very reminiscent of Donkey Kong. I think they even said this in the direct. And it's where Banjo rolls forward. And onto his aerials, his nair is very reminiscent of Piranha Plant and Ivysaur, where the Kazooie would spin her around her wings, and they would just spin them around quite a lot of times. And you can also do a drag down with this move, which can lead towards other ground moves. His fair, while I first thought this would be a spike, kind of like Mario, no, it's just more of like Ganondorf and Dr. Mario, where Banjo would swing his arm forward and hit the other opponent, and it can be very useful for a kill move. His back air, or bear, I get it because he's a bear, will let Kazooie peck her beak behind Banjo, and this is very similar to Ridley's forward air. For the down air, Kazooie goes heads first and launches them straight downwards. It is very similar to Greninja, where they go straight down, in which you can also jump out of the move, but you have to do it extremely late. But unlike Greninja, they don't bounce off of the opponent after doing so. As for his down throw, it actually acts very similarly to K. Rool and Rob, where he will grab the opponent and bury them into the floor. But unlike K. Rool and Rob, you can actually mash out of Banjo and Kazooie's bury quite easily, quite quickly and easily compared to the other throw buries in the game, so just keep that in mind. His back air is actually very similar to Mario's back air, because for one, he grabs the opponent and throws them around behind him, and 2, it's actually used for a very good kill move, so just keep that in mind. Time for the special moves. There are 2 variations for his neutral special. Both of them involve Kazooie shooting eggs from her mouth. The first one is stationary, while the second one, he can actually use Kazooie as a gun. For his neutral special, he wields a gun. And he can move freely around when doing so. It's sort of like Mega Man's pellets, where it even has the range of almost half the stage. Oh, and here's a weird thing I found out. Alright, so Banjo and Kazooie, I actually didn't mention this earlier, but they actually have a triple jump. There's one of the characters have a triple jump, like Charizard or Pit. And basically, if you're holding Kazooie and you keep jumping, he will keep jumping even without Kazooie flapping her wings. That is so weird. This is just really cursed to look at. I don't know what to say about this. He can just jump on his own without Kazooie even helping him. Like, okay then, Banjo, you do whatever you want. I'm not stopping you from doing it. The side beat is the Wonder Wing, where Banjo and Kazooie charge forward while Kazooie protects Banjo from any incoming attacks. And no, that isn't just for aesthetics. It actually is incorporated in the move, where this move is basically straight up invincible. Like, you can plow through almost anything. Like, if even from a Ganondorf to like Falcon Punch, you can like plow through anything. But its only weakness is that it can get grabs. So just be careful about that. You can also use this move as a horizontal recovery option. Here's the thing about the moves. Okay, so you notice how Banjo usually has 5 feathers on top of his head? Well, basically, if you run out of those feathers, you have to use the side B in order to make one of the feathers disappear. So basically, if you run out of all the 5 feathers, you cannot use the side B again until you respawn. So yeah, you have to use it wisely. Even if you're using it as a recovery option, you have to just use it wisely. Know when to use it, because you cannot get those side Bs back until you respawn. So just be strategic about it. His up special is the Shock Spring Jump, where Banjo and Kazooie both jump into the air using the Shock Spring Pad. Now, I actually like to compare this move to Sonic's up B, which is the spring, because you can actually jump out of the move and even attack out of the move and even like directional air dodge just to recover even more with it. And you can even use the shock spring pad just to damage other opponents. So after using the up B, the shock spring pad will fall towards the ground and it can hit any opponents that are below it. Now, unlike Sonic Spring, you can also charge the move to go even further, but it's just barely though. Like, there isn't really a noticeable difference whenever you're jumping from the shock spring pad. Like, there isn't really much of a difference if you just press and hold the button. And lastly, for the specials, it's his rear egg, where he literally shoots a grenade from his backpack. Now, a lot of people compare this move to Snake, but the thing is that, well, Snake's grenade just appears frame 1 on his hand, and unlike Snake, the grenade launches behind Banjo, so you'll actually have to catch it in order to throw it as an item. Now, this could be pretty much a hassle to get because you keep on having to go backwards whenever you're trying to catch the grenade. However, the solution is that you can actually easily catch it when you're midair, because if you launch the grenade midair, you can actually drift towards the grenade in order to catch it. So it's much easier to do it when you're in the air rather than when you're in the ground. And finally, his final smash is the Mighty Ginginator, where Banjo Kazooie spawn a statue and right in front of them. If it hits an opponent, it will automatically summon the Mighty Ginginator, and it will call in other Jinjos to help attack it over and over again, all culminating in one last final attack from the Mighty Ginginator himself onto the opponent. Oh geez, didn't you guys notice that for the move segment of this video, I keep on comparing Banjo's moves to other fighters, like his up B is very similar to the up B of Sonic, or some things like that. So if you can count how many times I keep comparing his moves to other fighters, if you can count the exact amount of times I do that, whoever does that, they will get a shout out in my next video. So keep that in mind. Just enter that in the comment section below, how many times I compare one of Banjo's moves to another fighter. So yeah, good luck. Now, before I end the video, I am once again, just like in the hero video, I am once again joined by Blue, my friend, because he's going to be collabing with me today. He's basically going to be sharing his opinions and thoughts about Banjo Kazooie, just like how he shared his thoughts about Hero in my most previous video on this channel. So, with all that said, take it away, Blue.
Hi everyone, I'm a partner to Owl the Barrel, and I do not know why I am doing this when I could be editing or playing Minecraft. But okay, let's talk about Banjo Kazooie and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because I really want to. Banjo Kazooie are raring to go, which was a great choice for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, as not only would basically Microsoft get represented in this, but Banjo would be back to life after a great death, because Nuts and Bolts sounds like a bad game. Banjo Kazooie's moves are from his games Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, but for some reason we don't have any Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I guess that's kind of strange, but hey, we all want to forget about that game and wish for a real Banjo 3. Some parts I don't like about Banjo is how he doesn't feel complete. Like, I feel like the feathers could have been more extra. The feather could have been like a resource you find out on the battlefield, like an item. Instead, it's just you only have 5 tries with it. And why not have that be with something else, like 100 eggs or 10 grenades every stop? It just doesn't seem right for the feather, as that could be the way for Banjo Kazooie to be a pretty good character. His eggs are spammable, which is very good, and if you get close enough, it does a little flinch to the opponent, which I guess is very good. The grenades also help a lot due to, well, you could carry them, and they could possibly save you, because you could do a double up B if it explodes at the right time. And the Wonder Ring works very well. It just, like I said before, doesn't feel complete. I feel like Banjo Kazooie deserves at best a C+ tier. Maybe even a B-, but I feel like B+ tier is for Hero, and A tier is just for Joker. But that's just my opinion. People could be blinded by nostalgia and think Banjo's A-tier. Or some people could think he's the worst character in King Winner that's Cubby, and that makes me pretty sad. Thanks for having me, and please watch my montage. I worked very hard on it. Just kidding. I put a day of editing into it.
So yeah, thank you, Blue. Now those were all his opinions on Banjo Kazooie. And just like what he said in the last part, he did make a Banjo Kazooie montage, like how he made a hero montage in my hero video. And so basically, if you want to be watching his montage on Banjo Kazooie, you may do so. I will be linking it in the description below for you to watch. Lastly, here are my 3 viewer questions for this video. For number 1, what are your general thoughts on Banjo Kazooie in Smash Bros? Do you love him, do you hate him, or do you just think they're okay? Number 2, what is your favorite alternate costume of Banjo Kazooie? For me, it is actually the red and blue one, because it's kind of like my Inkling or OC, because it's the blue hair and the red headphones. And last but not least, which is number 3, do you think we'll be getting a new game or remake of Banjo Kazooie on the Switch? Because if Banjo's getting into Smash Bros, does that mean that he will be getting a remake or new game on the Switch? Hopefully, or not maybe even just on the Switch, maybe on the Xbox and PS4 as well. But yeah, answer in the comment section down below because I want to hear what you all think. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe here if you're new to this channel for more content like this. If you would like to submit any fan art to me and have them appear in my videos, you may do so by sending them to me via Twitter, Discord, or Instagram. Thank you for watching this video and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace! This is Arrow the Barrel signing out.